Had a little fun project that I was wanting to do today. Thinking about putting, well, I'm not thinking about, I'm gonna put a light bar on the 4Runner. It's not an expensive light bar, but you know, you can go $200–300 with those light bars pretty quick. I think we spent like, I don't know, not much, $40 for it or something like that. It's a 42-inch light bar. Whenever I built my roof rack for my 4Runner, I designed it in a way that it would hold a 42-inch light bar on the inside of it. I did it on purpose, and I'll show you that here in just a minute, how I designed it to where it would hold that. The main reason I wanted the roof rack the first year was to haul you know, a lot of our camping equipment and whatnot, and now of course I use it to hold the rooftop tent. I didn't do any build videos of the roof rack. Kind of wish now that I would have, but I didn't do any build videos of it. Whenever I built it, I was kind of in a hurry. It's just built out of 1-inch square tubing, and I built it with this little cutout in it up here to where it will hold the light bar on the inside of that right there. The reason that I didn't go with an expensive light bar, you know, $200–300 light bar, is it's not something that I use very often. There's been a handful of times during our overlanding trips where I could have used it, where we were, you know, either setting up camp in the dark, or we're out on the trail later than what we expected and it kind of got dark on us, or you know, whatever. Then I might use it. Handful of times that I would ever use it. 99% of the time the headlights are plenty, so I wasn't in a hurry to get it. I want it just because I want it. The few times that I will use it, it'll be handy, it'll be nice to have. But you know, if I don't use it, I don't use it. And if it wears out, you know, from sitting in the sun, if it starts turning yellow, whatever, it's a $40 light bar instead of a $300 light bar. You know, I mainly want it because I just want it. I think it looks cool. I think it would be handy. The few times that I will use it, it's gonna be very nice to have, you know. So I'm okay with spending 40 bucks. If it wears out, I spend another 40 bucks, put another one on there. It's not that big a deal. And I got it all wired up today, and it's working and ready to go. Wiring it was a little bit tricky. For whatever reason, they don't provide you with a proper wiring diagram. I had a red, a black, and a white wire that was coming from my wiring harness, but then one of my switches, because I burned up one of them, hooked it up wrong, burned it up. Anyway, the switch had a red wire, a black wire, a yellow wire, a green wire, and a blue wire that I was gonna have to connect into this red, black, and white wire. But nowhere does anything, whether either the switch, wiring harness, light bar, anything, none of it tells you what wire goes where. So I burned up a switch, ordered a new switch. The new switch was a little bit different, and it had 2 red wires, a black wire, and a green wire. So after much consulting with friends, I finally figured it out, and I've got it wired up, and we'll take it and do a little test run with it this evening and see what it looks like. So when I was looking for wiring diagrams on the internet, I found 100 wiring diagrams on the internet for this light bar, or for a light bar. I couldn't find anything that had the combination of wires that I had. I had like I said, I had a red, a black, and a white that came off of the relay, went up to the switch. And then I had the second switch that I got had 2 reds, a black, and a green, okay? So naturally you would think that one of the reds would connect to the red, and the black, of course, would connect to the black, and then the other red, I would figure, would be a jumper to go to a second switch that would operate something else. That way you don't have to plug into, you know, have multiple wiring harnesses. You can run off the same wiring harness and run multiple switches. That's what would make sense to me. Now the green, I had found several wiring diagrams that showed a red, a black, and a yellow wire that came off of the wiring harness, and the green wire connected to the yellow wire in those diagrams. So naturally I thought, well, red to connect to red, black connect to black. I'll connect the green wire to my white wire, because maybe my white wire is the same as the yellow wire off of this other diagram that I found. Well, that worked, and the light bar would light and it would come on, but the problem was that the switch itself is lighted. It has a light on it so that you know when the light bar is on or off or whatever. That light stayed on constantly, even when the switch was turned off. Well, I don't want the light burning whenever the switch is off. It's not like I'm worried about it draining my battery, anything like that. It's teeny tiny little LED light, but it doesn't make any sense. Why would you want that light burning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you're in the car or not? Doesn't make any sense. So I did not want that light to be on all the time. So what I ended up having to do in order to make this work makes zero sense to me, but this is what worked. I had to connect the green wire on the switch to the red wire on the harness. The white wire on the harness went to a red wire on the switch, and then of course the black to the black, and that worked. The light comes on when the light bar is on, but it's off when the light bar is turned off. So it worked. That's the way I ended up having to wire it. Makes absolutely no sense why you would sell a switch of any sort with no wiring diagram and the wires are not labeled to tell you what they are. Makes no sense to me. You know, all the switches I'd ever done before either had a positive and a ground, or they'd have a positive, a ground, and a jumper. Okay, or you know, positive ground and you know the wire that comes in to actually light the switch so that you can see it, that'll connect to, like say, your accessory panel or whatever, to where when you turn the key on, it lights up so you can see where the button is. I've seen those, but these were not like that. I don't know if these were like Chinese made switches or what the deal is, but like the one with the two red wires, they're not labeled. They don't tell you which one is the power wire. They don't tell you which one is the power coming in, which one is the power going out. They didn't say anything. They don't have any labels on them. They don't have anything on them. And the first switch that I had, it was a dual switch to where you can, like say, I was gonna have the light bar running off of one of them, and then I won some off-road pod lights that I'm gonna use as ditch lights, and I was gonna use that switch to run those. Well, there was nothing there that showed which one went to which switch. So does the blue one come from the ditch lights, or does it come from the light bar? Does the green one come from the ditch lights, or does it come from the light bar? Nothing. There was nothing labeling anything, and you can't look it up. I looked up the specific switch that I had bought. Nothing on the internet for it. So, but I got it figured out. It's hooked up. So we'll just go with it the way it is. Okay, so there's nothing. There's low beam. That's high beam. And that's the surface of the sun.